back in the house. We were in the house. We went back. We were on the water. Now we're back in the house again. So fishing got done on Saturday a little earlier than I probably wanted to, but the bite had kind of died off. And when I got home, look what was waiting on me. Tackle Warehouse box. It's been so long since I've actually had a Tackle Warehouse box delivered before the weekend. Like, I ordered this thing so late, I thought it was going to be coming early, which would have been Monday, which was early, because I think I ordered these Thursday, maybe, not long ago. And they sent me a thing like within a few hours saying that it had shipped. And I'm like, dude, that is not right. Tackle Warehouse, I've been dogging them. So I guess this is so far hopefully a sign of good things to come. That if I order on a Sunday night, Monday, or whatever, that I can get my stuff that I want to fish with from Tackle Warehouse before the next weekend, which they had been in the past. But it's been several years since they've really been on that kind of a deal. So I'm hoping maybe we're getting back to that. So anyway, I was excited about that it was here already. I'm going fishing in the morning with Charles. And I'm hoping the swim baits I have in this box that I'm getting ready to show you guys are better than these. So let's just start. Now, where I was today really probably wasn't real conducive for this type of bait, right? It was pretty, the visibility on the water was probably a couple feet, maybe. And honestly, I feel you need, not super clear, but you need, like, these don't put out a ton, even though they have underspins on them. Like, you have to almost get this, like, right in front of a fish before he may want it, and then you better hope he's in the mood. So anyway, those two both struck out today miserably. Like, I never even had... I had them pit something biting at the tails, which is actually a plus that I still have all the tails, because I definitely had some fish nipping at these. I think it was just smaller crappie. Didn't even try this guy. Didn't even try these turds. So we did get on fish, and I'm going to tell you about... I got another big one. I'll be honest. If you guys have watched the other video where I caught the giant on a baby brush hog, I was at the same place, and I swear I couldn't see a spot where it had been hooked before, but that baby brush hog hook, I didn't really do much hardly any damage to that fish. I think I caught the same fish again, which that's the same place where, if you guys go back and look at the one with the cleft lip, I caught 3 times for sure because of that way that female's lip was. But this fish, that short, stubby, real fat one, weighed 6 pounds, 11 ounces. I'm pretty sure in the last video it weighed 6 pounds, 11 ounces. I think I caught the same exact fish again. And I'm getting ready. I'll talk about the bait I caught it on here shortly. Wasn't this guy. Briefly through some of these different ones. I put that Rage Craw on our peanut butter and jelly. This dude, I caught 1 or 2 on. I kind of went back to that sapphire blue. I think what I'm going to start doing, my black and blue is going to have to be true black and blue skirting, and then I'm going to go back to the goat black and blue trailer. But so far this was kind of working. So I was kind of experimenting, and I'm going to talk about my experiments real quick, but honestly right here's the main few things that were working. Now, I don't have it out. It's still hooked to the rod, but if you guys remember, I've got that SV3 knockoff, which is about the same color as this. Those SV3 spinnerbaits are definitely legit. So the SV3 knockoffs, they work too. But you know, I mean, if you guys were wanting them to stick with Megabass, and you say you've got Vision 110s, you've got Pop Maxes, but you're like, I just don't know about their spinnerbaits because I've always thrown this or that. Trust me, I've never thrown a better spinnerbait than these SV3 knockoffs. So I'm only assuming that the original one is even better. So go either way. Go with the SV3 knockoffs or go with whatever. I'm not going to get an argument over whether a knockoff should be a knockoff, because I don't think they call them SV3. They just kind of knocked off the overall design, which it's kind of the norm nowadays, unfortunately. But these two baits were catching fish. Olivia was with me. This was one of her main ones. And then I don't think I got it out, but I was going to talk about the Dig It. The last couple videos and times she's been with me and the bite gets tough, I'm like, well, here, throw this on, you'll catch fish. And she just, I mean, the Dig It. There's a reason why I love that little crank. When the bite's tough, that thing will always catch little bass and little crappie. And you never know if you're throwing it and you got confidence it's catching fish, when a big one will jump on that bait, because I've caught some pretty big fish on the Dig It. So anyway, back to my experimentation. I thought, well, if that blue sapphire, just you throw that thing on a black and blue chatterbait, and it just seems to be, it works. And or black and blue jig, it works. It doesn't work on anything else. I've tried it on a spinnerbait. I've tried the black and blue spinnerbait, for that matter, is just not as effective as a black and blue gold blade chatterbait. The black and blue gold blade spinnerbait, not as effective. But I just experimented a couple different ways, and I did a couple other color experimentations, and no go. I feel you need to match, like this color on that Strike King just kind of matches the bluegill color on the Z-Man, some of the colors in that, and that just makes for an excellent chatterbait. Just like this, these colors here on these Meredith baits, they match up. And so the crappie were tearing these baits up more than the bass. So the crappie are definitely cannibalistic too. But we caught bass, crappie, and everything on those. So I'm going to talk about that. Soft plastic game, we're still struggling on that. And I probably should go back and just keep throwing my zinkers. I kind of went a couple years, that's all I threw was the zinkers on a finesse rugby jig that used as a shaky head basically, and was awesome. And then I've kind of veered away trying different stuff. And I mean, I've had some success, whether it be with a true, like a jig or finesse jig. I don't have any out at the moment. Or, you know, like I was trying this bigger dude today. I threw him briefly. I don't even know if I threw the baby brush hog. This is that bigger, I don't even know what they call that thing. Strike King one. So anyway, let's talk about, before I do the unboxing, I'm kind of decided, let's talk about the worst topwater bait. And I hate to say it because I've tried to make myself like these. The worst topwater bait that I think I possibly could own. Now, they will catch fish, so they're not horrible, but, you know, I've got some pretty good topwater baits. I'm not bragging or anything. I just, you know, a lot of them are good. These guys, I'm still up in the air. I caught a fish on this one today, but it seems this color so far that everybody raved about, I don't think I've caught a fish on that dude yet. The white one was the first one I got. I liked that bone color. I didn't even throw it today. I threw this one briefly and caught one, but this is just like every fish, it tweaks this wire. It doesn't get as many bites as a Whopper Plopper, in my opinion, and it's just as obnoxious as a Whopper Plopper, to where I feel if they're basically going to hit this, they would hit a Whopper Plopper, and it's less likely to lose a Whopper Plopper since I've already lost at least one of those. So if you guys were wondering, those Hellraisers, for the cost of these baits, they just do not impress. I bought this one. I'd already had these last season. I am not going to buy any more of these. There has to be some big change for me. Figure out a way when time to use them. Maybe there's a different, other than a normal topwater time that these shine. But so far, I'm not probably going to. These are going to stay in this box the rest of the season, kind of like these other jerk baits kind of deal. And I'm going to try them periodically, but today I was sort of on a Whopper Plopper bite, and I managed one fish. Like I said, I threw this one briefly, nothing. Threw that one. Didn't take a long time. Did catch a fish, but like I said, that little thing bent. And I have not broke one, but almost every fish tweaks this bait to where you kind of have to tweak it back. That part sucks. And the fact that they're like a chatter or a buzz bait. You have to keep them moving, or otherwise they're sinking. And so just I don't know. I feel that a buzzbait's probably a better option than this, because you can't run this around gunk like you can run a buzzbait through a lot more gunk. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. I thought I would like fall in love with this bait, but so far I am not overly impressed with that bait. Not impressed with any jerk bait. Once I told you that cold, cool, clear water like you would drink it, that's when the jerk baits work awesome. After that, that box just kind of set. It's a full box that just sets most of the time. So, I didn't even try poppers today, but I wanted to get out. If you guys have watched the last couple of my fail videos, I've been trying to do these two justice on testing them, right? Well, either those two or these two. Now, some of you will go, oh, they love the Choppo and I'm cheating because I have used two different colors and I need to buy another Choppo and this and that. Today, I fished, well, I think I did start with this guy, and I think I caught one, but then I went, oh, well, I need to fish this one more. So, the Choppo, I don't think I caught a fish on the Choppo today. Now, I think it was just because that color belly, they just weren't hitting what they were like these. But let me just tell you, this dude right here, game over. This thing caught, and I guess I'll give it away. Be looking for watch the full video. Like I told you, I caught that fish that I think I had already caught, 6 pound, 11 ounces. Caught on that baby right there. But before I caught him, this just was the one. I was kind of throwing, alternating them, and then this one just, this color, you know, maybe it's not the fact it's the Whopper Plopper, but that color was just speaking to those fish. Now, I didn't catch a ton, but it caught more than these other two. And then the bite, when it did catch them, I caught one that was almost 5. And then a little while later, after switching back and forth, I caught another one, 6 pounds, 11 ounces on that bait. So, and I have, if before this video, before today ever took place, I'd already put in an order for the perch colored. I got the little bitty 60 coming. These are 90s, by the way. I'm honestly not a fan. I've had the 90s. I'm not a fan of the 75. So I'm going to get the little 60, but I ordered the perch color in the 60 and the 110, because even though these are awesome baits, I'm wondering if the 110 isn't a overall better option. So what you'll probably see me doing is putting that 110 perch more or less up against these two, just to see, you know, the rest of the season, not in any one given time. Just kind of am the Choppo. I'm going to keep him in the mix. This is an awesome bait. Don't get me wrong. The Choppo, awesome bait. But some of you guys are trying to talk me into the Choppo's better than the original Whopper Plopper. There is not a better plopper style bait than the original Whopper Plopper. And this guy today, the OG one I've had forever, same hooks. I managed to almost, the one, I think I caught 1 or 2 on him. The one was actually kind of hooked on the outside, and those hooks that have never been sharpened or messed with by me still got him in. Like the hardware, I thought, and I still kind of think that these hooks are a little too big in my opinion. And the only bad thing about the 110 I got coming, I think it comes with those exact size hooks, which is good because they do hook up good, but honestly feel like it may be better to have just a touch smaller. Like the Choppos are a touch finer, and they seem like they'll be fine, but they probably won't last as long. But they're very sharp, and they're lasting right now. So I like that color. I almost got the smallest version of the Choppo, and I've been debating, because this is a 120. They make a 105 and 75 also. I don't know. They make 3 or 4 of these. I almost got the smallest one, but for now, I don't think I'll be buying any more Choppos. So I'm hoping I like that 110. Unfortunately, most of the Whopper Plopper colors, I think, some of them are limited to a 90. Some of them are limited to the 130. So, like, you can't go buy every color you'd want. Now, I don't know if I'm going to buy it or not. I'm going to talk about this real quick. And then, while I'm talking about it, I'm going to talk about my take on, because I don't know if you guys know how many different forums or, you know, Facebook pages, whatever you guys or groups you're part of. But there's been a debate, and it's the swim bait guys that are mainly doing it, because that's mainly your only garage guys that are still truly out there making baits, trying to make money off of them, other than your soft plastic guys that pouring, right? Most guys that pour soft plastics are knocking off some other soft plastic. They're pouring their own molds. They're maybe changing to something a little bit, but you can only make a paddle tail, a worm with a hook tail, or a ribbon tail. You can only make them so many different ways. It's all kind of been done. So nobody really gives those guys, you know, the crap that they get for doing a knockoff or whatever. Like, they're doing their own thing, right? And it's just a matter of what kind of plastic you use, what colors you use, how durable are your baits, and that, you know, there's not really a patent on soft plastics, kind of like there is on certain swim baits. And then some of these garage guys, maybe they don't have a patent or a patent yet or whatever. Same thing with the Whopper Plopper. You know, did they get a license like the, you know, I don't get into all that. Just like we use the Jackie Hammer, which is a knockoff of the Jackhammer, completely named a whole different name, all right? So I don't get into all that. I get it. If I was definitely a guy that was out there making stuff and somebody was copying my design, making money off of it, I will say that, and I'm not trying to make friends or enemies. I'm just giving you my opinion. I get where a guy's coming from that made a bait especially some of these swim baits, out of his garage, and it takes however long to make it or whatever. But honestly, it should be up to him if he's wanting to make money off of it to just do kind of like they did with the Chad Shad. Try to get with somebody bigger, a better production, just or like the Baca Burrito, right? If there's a market for it, if people are willing to pay money to try to get that mass produced out there, because trust me, in the dog eat dog world we live in, if somebody catches on to something so good and realizes there's a shortage, just like the Clash 9s and all these other, coming from China or whatever, like China don't care. They'll take a bait that there's hundreds of thousands of if they think they can get them put out and made. You will not get the quality. Most knockoffs are way lesser quality. Every once in a while, you'll come across something that it just, I'll be honest, I'm not going to go into specifics on which one. It's not a Whopper Plopper. It's not a Z-Man, chatterbait or nothing like that. It's not any swim bait that I know of. But every once in a while, you'll have a company that basically overtakes the original one just because they've made it either more durable, way more affordable, but as good, as durable as whoever had the original, whether they had a patent or not, or the patent ran out, or whatever happens. I mean, that's just the way that, there's no reel manufacturers in America that make reels, right? The ones that did over the years, they've kind of got, Daiwa and Shimano kind of dominate the market in, the big name brand reels. But baits are similar to that. And the only thing that I'm not going off any laws, but in my mind, if someone, a true knockoff, if you guys remember back in the day, there was even the movie Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dennis Rodman were in a knockoff or something about, because there are true knockoffs. Like a Nike shoe. If it says Nike on it and it's not a Nike, that's a true knockoff. Now, somebody's copying someone, and especially AliExpress is bad about it. They'll put the name somewhere in the listing so they'll know a guy can find it, but they don't maybe call it a Clash 9 or a DRT, or they'll say DRT Clash 9 in the heading, but the bait and the packaging doesn't say that. But when someone's like sort of copying the similarity of a bait, that I don't know, I guess that's a shady area. But if they are truly trying to put out a bait and sell it to you as a Whopper Plopper and it wasn't made by River to Seas, then that is a true knockoff that's like, yeah, that, and they're trying to make more money off that fact by using that name, is where I'm like, yeah, I don't really go for that. Now, I will try to push, because you guys have heard me do it here with Megabass. We've got the Megabass knockoff swim baits, but I'll tell you that I'm sure that the Megabass swim baits probably are a little easier to work, but the knockoffs, they work. The knockoff Whopper Ploppers honestly work also. I don't know how long they'll last or whatever. I will tell you that this Whopper Plopper is like $16.99. You can go buy 5 different colored Whopper Ploppers, I believe in the 110 size, which is also $16.99 in the Whopper Plopper. You can buy like 5 different colors for $10. So if you're just like, and I understand if you are, like I was at a time, there's no way I was spending $3 to $5 on a bait. If I couldn't buy a bait for $3 to $5, I didn't throw it. I was still catching fish. So I don't know where you guys' budget are, but that's where, in my opinion, the AliExpress stuff comes in. If you've never thrown a Whopper Plopper, maybe you don't know what size you like. Buy a couple cheap ones on AliExpress. If you like them, I recommend stick with the original as far as if you want to run Whopper Ploppers, because unless you throw this off or a fish pulls it away from you kind of thing, you're not going to lose a floating topwater bait. It's hard to lose this bait, and it's even harder to try to wear them out. They just flat keep catching fish. So if you have to, spend $10, get 5 different colors, throw them around, you find one of those colors that works. When it wears out, which it probably will in a year or two, you may be better off to just spend that initial investment in the closest color Whopper Plopper size and whatever. Buy it, and you've almost got a bait for several years. And then especially if you're a guy that likes to, once you fish the bait a ton, put it up on the wall or do something like that, then yeah, I would stick with the originals. But while I'm sitting here staring at it, while I was talking about knockoffs, Megabass is probably one of the most knocked off companies there are, right? Division 110, everybody's got a style of that, though. Pop Max to date has not been like a total copy that works very well, or the Pop X. I still kind of swear by these. Just there's a time and place. I've talked about it before. There's one. I've only ever bought 2 or 3 of this color, and that's the last one I have in that color. I don't even think you get this color anymore. And honestly, it's not that great of a color over any of the others. It's just my favorite color, and it got bit. I'm sure there's other colors out there that are just as good or better. But these baits, for the 20 bucks they cost, they will well pay for themselves in fish, except for the full-size white python. This thing is impossible to catch very many fish. I don't know. It's definitely got a different crackle look to it than the Pop X. But there is a knockoff right there from AliExpress. You hear that little crazy difference? They definitely got the pattern. They copied this thing almost to a T. This is a cheap bait, but like in all honesty, I bought this when it came in, and I'm like, I am not buying any more of those. It'll probably work, but I just ain't, like, I don't know. There's certain baits that I will go ahead and spend that little, money, stick with the original, that kind of deal. The Pop Max, the Vision 110 Plus 1 Junior now is one of them. The Pop X. Now, the baby Pop X, I can give or take it. I'll use those little, when you can get them, the AliExpress ones. But that color right there, and that white python, if you guys notice the difference, honestly, the knockoff probably comes closer than the... So these, the belly does look very close. But I can tell you right now, just in the brief time I've used them. Now, this one I've had longer than this one, but this sucker has caught me way more fish than this one. But all the other, that's the only color in those little guys. The bigger one, like that color. I've even got somewhere, and I've got a bass colored one. Somewhere I have this exact color in this little dude. So when it comes to these, see, that's the exact color. That little dude has not caught me near as many fish as the big one. So I kind of like more realistic, bigger size baits, more realistic. Smaller, then you can get, they kind of get clouded out, right? The more natural, that's when you go, in my opinion, like white, the brighter, even the brighter white, the blues, just something the smaller you get, a lot of times, then you'll want to get, a little brighter. But anyway, that's my take on that. So when it comes to knockoffs, I'm not going either way. Like, you guys, you want to buy a knockoff, buy them. You don't want to buy them, don't buy them. A true knockoff it's going to look like the original, going to have the same name. Somebody's going to be trying to pawn it off on you as an original. That's a true knockoff. Other ones are just copies. If you don't want to buy a copied swim bait, then don't. If you do, if that's all you can afford, go for it. I'll be honest. That's all I can afford. I'm not going crazy on buying the original everything. I tracked down over the years. Maybe I bought one like I did the Whopper Plopper years ago, and it just never fails me. But then some of you guys wanted to call it out with the Choppo. Just like a while back, you guys called out my Z-Man original with the jackhammer. And I got them, tried them. No. The jackhammer, it's awesome bait. It can't outdo the Z-Man original. The Jackie Hammers are way cheaper, and that's why they're like... the Z-Man original is about a third of the price of a jackhammer. The Jackie Hammer is about half the price of a Z-Man original. The only thing that now falls in there that they don't have copies of or cheaper versions of, that Mini Max in that bluegill color. By the time you try to get a smaller bait like that to match up to that color, you're going to have that, what, a $6.99 or $7.99. And the big blade's still up there. I don't know if it's worth its $10.99. It should be priced down there around what the Mini Max, maybe just a couple dollars more than the original because there's a little more goes into it. I think the jackhammer and these crazy prices they're getting up there with the Thunder Crickets. Oh, it's a Pro. Oh, it's a Tungsten. It's a this. It's a $17.99. I know. Whatever they're like. Just to let you guys know, as far as other than ease of just buying a color that's already put together, like we have with, where'd it go? This bait right here, and it does look stupid with this bait on it. Let me take this trailer off. But just the fact you can get that in a quarter, 3/8, and I believe, half ounce maybe. Little blade, just a different appearance. I've added a few different colors. That's one I added to, but you know, very good hook. You got it. You need to retie that right off the bat. If you like that color, either retie or just get in there with some super glue, glue that on, because I've blown apart 2 of these now. I had to do my own retie on them. But that is a very good bait from Z-Man. Like in of all of them, if I had to go, like you know, you just got to go fishing with one bait to catch fish. It would honestly probably be that new Mini Max over all the. Now I haven't tried the Stealth Blade or whatever, but I've tried. You guys seen me with the jackhammers, even the Z-Man original, the Elites, and all those. That little dude right there, just, and I've only had that color. I need to figure out a way to get me a little black and blue version in the 1/4 ounce, but I've got similar ones to those in the other baits. So anyway, I'm done talking about all that. If you guys got any questions about whether it be a knockoff or what my idea of the perfect chatterbait is, it would be this guy if they start selling it for $4.95. It's just that size. Catches little ones, big ones, like it catches them. And I like the big blade too. I like the thump of the big blade. Honestly, that's catchability. Fishing them and feel, I still like the Z-Man original or the jackhammer knockoff. The big blade, I like. It's almost too much, but it's very responsive. Like in what the second you turn the handle, you're getting feedback on what that big thing's doing. This one is more like a little just buzzing down there, but I think this blade on is a more subtle way if you were trying to get, like, put a bigger bait on the back if you're wanting to, basically where you would try to go swim with a swim jig. In my opinion, anyway, you're better off to take a smaller, whether it be they make I can't remember if it's the mini, I think it's the mini, not the Mini Max. You can get a 1/4 ounce with a bigger, longer hook shank, like which is the same size as the Z-Man original, but in a 1/4 basically. Or I think you can get the Z-Man original 1/4 ounce. It's just a bigger thing. That's one I would think, get it and put like a diesel minnow or something like that over even the diesel minnows and all that, because the ones I've tried like that, I don't know, they just suck. So anyway, let's go with what we got, and then let's end this video because I got to get ready for fishing tomorrow with Charles. I'm still in the middle of editing a video. Let's talk about videos real quick. I'll tell you what to expect. Now the fiasco videos are done. Thankfully, you guys have watched some of them, but they're definitely the last good video, or the good day video I put out was like the 45-minute one that me and Olivia were fishing after the Choppo Whopper Plopper battle. That was an awesome little in and out of rain, crazy. Caught a good one on swim bait. It already has like over 550 views, which is very good for a Bass and Bonsai channel, right? The other 3 I just put out, little short 10-minute ones, those were, I call them fails. I went out, I think in 2 of them, I was trying to do the last 2, I was trying to start a Whopper Plopper video, and they just was the bite. I couldn't get the Choppo, the Whopper Plopper, nothing was hitting. I didn't go to the smaller ones, but it was just not a good day. And at the Odessa Reservoir, something's wrong with that grass. So those are done. Now, the one that's coming out, the first one, it's a series. And you're just going to have to bear with me because I can't, like Tactical Bassin and some of these guys will put together a little 3.5 hour tour, right? You're just following along, and a lot of it's just dead time. Some of you guys have asked for that. That's what's coming next in little half hour, 40, it's like 30, 35, or 40-minute increments. So I'm basically ending where either I catch a fish or I discover something. Maybe it's a one-hit wonder. Maybe it's the beginning of a pattern, or maybe I've just finished a little flurry of catching them in an area. Then I'm ending it there, and then I go on in the next video. You'll see I've moved on. I'm trying either the same thing or something different. It's just my full day at Pogue. So it's like called Full Pogue on Father's Day. So you'll see a lot of fish catches, but there's some of those, you may go 28 minutes and then I catch a fish right at the end. But that's just part of, if you're going to go out fishing, even though you have all these baits, and sometimes more baits makes it harder, right? More money, more problems, right? More money, more problems, more bait, more time wasted just trying different stuff that's not working, right? So I'm hoping I'm going to put them together in a series, but as they're coming out, you will be able to watch them, and then When I get them all out, I'll put them in their own little, I forget what I even call that or what they call that, but they'll have their own little thing. And I got some of those out there, like a perfect day of fishing. Me and Charles, there's several of those. So this is like the second or third one of these I put out. My video editor won't let me just stick in 3 hours worth of stuff. It'll start to upload it to the computer or download it or whatever, whichever way that's called while it's going from the editor to the computer, and then it'll just shut off. And I got to start over. So it's like a 40-minute, maybe a 45-minute little window. It's got to be shorter than that, or it won't. It just won't do it with the software, with the stuff I'm using right now. That's just all I can do. So, and you guys comment. I honestly like the idea myself. Like, I don't think I've ever sat and watched through any of their tactical basins full one. I'll start watching one, and then I'm just like, okay, dude, I'm over it, right? So at least in these, they are, half hour, 35 minutes, and I guarantee you may go a long time, but there's a fish catch. There's either an idea or what you'll see in one coming up. I catch one like first cast, and I don't know how many times I've done that. I've rigged something up, throw it out, and I call them one-hit wonders, right? Just like a song comes out on the radio, everybody loves it for the year, and that group never can come out with another good song. So you can also get lost in a half hour or longer of fishing just by doing that. You'll throw something out, you'll catch a fish. When I'm on or around, even like at Pogue, or if I'm places where I've been and I know there should be fish there, in this video, if you watch it, you'll kind of see how long I give a bait. Like, I don't give a bait a long time. I mean, I've had Matt and Hannah make fun of me, and different stuff, because you'll see some of them, they'll tie something on and they'll fish it for an hour. And that is not me. I may leave something on for an hour, but you guys have seen me. I'll go out and be catching them. Unless they're, a big class or whatever. I don't know how many times I'm the guy, I will leave fish to go find a bigger bite. If I'm catching little dinks, I will start changing something to try to get to that bigger bite. So hopefully if you watch this Pogue video, you're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I want to say 5 or 6 different baits that I actually go on and start catching. Now, I could have probably stopped at any one of those and just kept covering water and maybe caught more fish with those one baits, but I did kind of switch. And then, if you guys watch those videos, go back and, comment and let me know what, where, what bait would you went, oh, I'll just fish with that one the rest of the day. Because a lot of times it's not even, for us that aren't tournament fishermen, it's just what bait we like to throw, what we have more fun throwing, a way we like to throw, a certain way we like to fish. So, I guess I'll give a few spoilers. I got on a bite right when I first got there with that dude. Boom. Caught several. It was just like catching them. I was trying to talk about line and different stuff and just got on a little tear with that bait. Then that bait shut off. Got on, I think you'll see me catch him on a swim bait. You'll see me get on, which a bait I didn't even realize that I could get on a tear with there. I get on a little rattle trap tear with a rattle trap colored like that. I get on this, one of the spinner baits kicks in. I go on a little spree with it, just to see the other things I throw and how long. You watch me throw something until I switch to something else. It'll be in this coming up. So one's going to drop in the morning, the part 1. I think part 3 is going from the computer or the editor to the computer. I've got part 1 and 2 going on to YouTube at the moment. And there's at least 4, 5, or 6. I don't know. There are several. I'm just going to put it all in one deal. Hopefully a lot of you guys watch it. If some of you just haven't, maybe some of you have never had time to get out in a boat and just put a full day of fishing in, you get an idea of what it's like if you want to take time, watch one here and there and watch it till the end. Or just, batten down the hatches while you're in the house, go get some popcorn, put it on the big screen. That's the best way. I watch my own videos on the big screen trying to see if something I'm missing or what, one bad thing about the GoPro is I can't zoom in. Like, you're going to see this thing got blown to pieces by a big giant bass. It was so far out, it just looked like a little bloop. It kind of reminds you of that Ant-Man movie whenever they're battling on the train and when it's up close. And then when it shows a little train going by, it looks like nothing. When you get so far out with the Whopper Plopper and they hit it, no matter how vicious it is on the GoPro, it just doesn't look that mean. But yeah. So anyway, let's get to the unboxing. I've wasted so much time on this and haven't even got to the unboxing. We're 35 minutes in. So let's open it with a knife, a true man's knife, right? I don't even own an actual, I got a Swiss Army knife that's out in my backpack that I carry to and from my work truck kind of deal. So, let's hope, oh, you know what else is even in, I didn't even realize what else was in this, I'm losing my mind. I don't know, I could have used these today, but there wasn't a bite going for it, but I would have liked to have started throwing them now because I was around some gunky stuff. So let's just, oh, who is that? Is that KVD? What are you doing in my box, KVD? Okay. Oh, boy. Ooh, we got some new stuff that I've never even seen before coming out in this one, guys. So, let's just keep you on your feet in suspense. You guys have never seen... Yeah, you've seen this before. You've seen that dude's mug and these baits before. But I just had to try these. I'd been debating trying those forever. And since they come in my favorite color at the moment, you know... I wanted to get the Ocho, that green pumpkin, purple, and gold. So I just wanted to try them, give it a shot. Ordered those. And I wasn't done there. I was not done there. So they also make one they call a Fat Baby Finesse. So I got those. And so I'm not done there. I gave those a shot, or gonna give those a shot. Then this is what, before I could even wait for the Game Hog, I ordered the big crazy monster one. Here's the size I actually wanted. So I ordered 3 different Strike King soft plastic, just because that is, you know, I love that color. So I wanted to try those baits out. We'll put those maybe up against my beloved Zinkers. That thing just should be an awesome little finesse type worm. And then of course we'll put these up against the baby brush hog in that one color that isn't too far from it, right? So anyway, yeah, we got a bunch of those colors. That color does work. Now let's go to the most exciting part of the show. And I'm going to save a couple for last. Now, I've been talking about the Booyah Hard Knocker now for how long? A while. So I figured it was time to add another color to the lineup. So honestly, to the fact that the video I was just talking about, the full day at Pogue on Father's Day, that custom painted one from Norm Coulter is basically what this is here, but this is in a bluegill. So I've got another Booyah Hard Knocker. Unfortunately, they don't make that many, or the Tackle Warehouse and most places don't carry them anymore, of the 3/4 ounce ones. So, but half is probably your better all around, just getting it, throwing it out there and getting it done. So, got a lot of rattle. Ooh, good sharp hooks for sure. That thing stuck me. So, we got a Booyah Hard Knocker. Should be good. We got the OG, which this was my favorite and still may be. I could have swore the Poppin' Pad Crasher before the one I had the last time was just something, there was luck in it and I lost it and I bought another one, and that sucker had been bad luck the whole time I owned it, so I got away from it. And you guys saw me with the, well, here he is right here. This guy, which I kind of had to bend the hooks out and then I kind of tried to bend them back a little bit. So I still like that bait. It's the best walking frog I've thrown so far, even though it's a popping frog. But we got this guy is going to go head to head. You're going to see against, so brand new versus this guy. So these two, and unfortunately, they used to show you on a lot of these the colors at the store, but thankfully, Tackle Warehouse, you can usually hit a button and it shows you the underbelly. I'm still, because I went with, you guys heard me talk, you'll hear me talk more about them when I kind of listen to what some people say. I'll tell you what I think they said that I liked and what I think isn't for me anyway. So I went off of Matt Allen from Tactical Bassin again, who said that they've had the best luck with chartreuse belly. I'm like, nah, I don't think so, but I'll try it. So I bought the chartreuse bellied, that bigger one. So let me get this packaging out of the way. So I went with that one because I do like everything else about this color, but honestly, I'm tempted to try to make that more whitish because I don't like the chartreuse bellies. Most all of my topwater baits, if you really start looking at my topwater baits that I get, that I have, that I seem to, in my opinion, have good luck with. I'm not a fan of black either. Have white or whitish bellies. I'm just a fan of everything that's naturally out there, from a frog to a crappie to a bass to a other, maybe a bluegill. But even a bluegill, most everything a natural thing is a white belly. So I got these two we're going to do in a little shootout, and I got the littler one because it is truly it's like right there. It's a little narrower, a little deeper here. So I honestly think I'm going to fall back in love with my favorite. There's just something about that. And I'm trying to feel, like I still feel that sucker needs more to be pushed down. Now they kind of can crunch him in on any different way. When a bass gets down there in the crunchers, because that's kind of what I feel you got to wait for on a frog thing. You don't. It's not so much that it's in their mouth. You got to wait till they get it down, and when they start, basically they're trying to start eating. Like as soon as they get it to their cruncher area, they're basically going to collapse this, and you kind of have to have almost perfect timing with the frog, is why it kind of ends up being a bait that you tend to lose them. But so I'm not going to bend any hooks out. I'm going to put these. We're going to see which one gets bit more than the other one, and hookup ratios and that kind of stuff. But these colors definitely seem like they're going to work. Now, if you guys don't know about frogs, I've got video. Everybody's got videos out on this. I like to shorten the legs up a little. I think on my last one I shortened a little too small, but I will shorten up both legs, and then I'll take about a ½ inch off one over the other. Now, a lot of guys will tell you about, well, why is that and this and that. I think it's for one simple reason. I think the initial startup to get a frog to walk is what it takes. Just like almost any bait, you got to get it to jump one way before you can pull it and then get the cadence to where it jumps. So in my opinion, when you shorten one leg over the other, it's a simple drag thing in the water. So the drag that a longer leg has over the other one, so basically say if this leg is, however longer, or say that this one didn't even have a leg and there's a leg here. Well, it's naturally when you pull, it's going to pull that way. So then when you pull again, it's going to pull it back that way. So that's why you want one leg shorter than the other. And it doesn't have to be a lot, but that's to get a frog to start walking faster than any other means possible, is by having one leg shorter than the other. I've heard it explained several different ways. It does the same thing, but when they're trying to explain it, I believe that's why. If you've ever had fallen off a jet ski and you got one shoe on and one off, you try to pull to your right, whatever leg's got the shoe still on it will not get back up and in that jet ski as fast as the other one with the shoe off kind of thing. Right? It's science. It's bro science. Figure it out. But hopefully between these two and this one, we have the frog game covered, right? No, we don't. So not only I had to have this guy right here. This is the most, in the video I watched, the most realistic looking frog that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I thought it was a real frog. I wanted to cut these legs up and eat them. Right? It's the ultimate frog. Live target, ultimate frog. I just had to have one of these. Once I saw that footage when they pull it, and I think I got whatever I think was going to match up closest to the size, but I think it was the biggest one. I can't remember. I think I was like, I just get the big one. Oh my, this packaging is insane. No, you don't, Live Target. You don't win. Oh my God, they got it glued in. It's like theft proof. Oh no, wait. I was just squeezing too hard. It's like a can. If you squeeze too hard, it won't open. So this is a whole different bait. I was curious though, just how they make these. So that's all that's there on that. I'm gonna need to clean this mess up before I can do any. Uh-oh, they got it tied in. They got it tied in like a G.I. Joe action figure. So, and I don't even know. Maybe I should leave this little thing with it. So you get spare little legs, which is cool because that probably is a sign that these go flying off. So if you guys can see, they got these bound up. So it's probably a good idea maybe to store it like that. But I'm going to pull one off for myself and you guys and show you the concept. I won't be able to like swim it for you, but these things in the video just look just like a frog. Uh-oh, he's stuck. So here's what happens. These legs are curled up. And so when you pull, see how that's got the cupped? So that's going to pull water. Now it's got holes, so it didn't, completely hold it. So this is a hard-bodied frog. That is a hard body with these little, I thought they were maybe spring-loaded, but they're kind of just... So yeah, you throw it in, throw it out, and then when you pull, these are going to drag, just like I talked about one leg shorter than the other. These are going to create drag, but then as you let go, what should happen is that water, that drag, then they just start their natural being bent, wants to suck back up. So it looks like a frog kicks as you pull, and then when you stop, he comes back, and then you maybe pause, hesitate however long, and then you pull again, and it just has that realistic looking frog. And that color is like, if you've ever looked at to me, that's the most natural looking leopard frog that they had, and that's a lot of what's around here is leopard frogs and bullfrogs. So that should get bit. If this bait, I probably will not spend any more money on another one if this thing just starts getting fired up. But I would only guess that I need to save this and keep this little dude hunched up like this just to make sure that those legs stay in shape. So it's not a hollow body. It's only got the one single hook. Be curious on how it gets bit, and how many fish does it take before you lose one of these. I guess I should have looked at that. I guess the legs are just pushed on. Maybe they're glued on. I don't know. It looks like let's take one of the other ones out. So I was looking at that thinking there was a screw there, but I think that's just the way it's molded. Maybe something pushes in. Let's take the frog back out. Oh my gosh. Let's put the leg back in. Looks like they went through the trouble to keep these in a certain way, so I guess we should try to keep them intact. I can only guess that that's... Oh, I think... No. It's not glued on. Oh, you guys know me. I gotta see what's holding it on. Okay, so it's just a... Okay, yeah, I mean, this is spring-loaded. So yeah, I was getting ready to say, I thought they were kind of springy to pull it back. So yeah, just hopefully that's a good hard plastic. So you just put the new leg on if one pops off, and I'm sure they sell replacements. Hopefully they're not like $8 or something. But so yeah, cool bait that possibly could it could be a game changer. I mean, if they're on if you're on spooky fish, but they can't resist eating frogs, that is the most realistic looking one moving through the water that I've seen, and in that color. I like that color. So I should probably honestly keep that dude for special occasions. At least keep this packaging like this, maybe thrown somewhere. I don't know. It's the only bad thing about when you get these, you end up with these like some of these swim baits in the blister packs. It's hard to put them somewhere. So yeah, very excited for that. But that's not what the most excited I'm excited about. The most excited I am, honestly, isn't even these, which I was excited about when I ordered them until I found the other stuff. Now, we're going to go with the standard dude. So, you guys know, and Charles was one of the first ones that's using the perch color, but there is a Whopper Plopper 130. Now, I still have the crazy, where's he at? I'm probably getting rid of him. I don't know. I haven't decided 100% yet, but I think I may save some of these baits and just set them to the side in case I do go down to Texas at some point. So, I still have it. There's that crazy Whopper Plopper 190 in a very good color. So, I bought the perch color in the Whopper Plopper 110. Once I started looking at these, I think I like this exact bait right here better because I kind of like the idea of the Choppo. It's got that little bit different belly. It's not exactly a torpedo shape. Now, today was proof, though, that that really doesn't matter. That Whopper Plopper 130 just gets nailed. The big ones, the little dinks, everything loves a Whopper Plopper 130. Even Choppo loves, El Choppo. He loves Whopper Plopper 130s. But I'm thinking that this may be my new little, let's call it not a honey hole, my little honey size. Because that size, if you look at it, it's way smaller than this. Now it's got, I believe, the same hooks. No, I think they are a size smaller. Oh my God. I can't get it away from it to see. Okay, so they are a little smaller. Which, that's what I was hoping, that not the same exact size as the... So yeah, we have smaller hooks on that 110 over the 130, which is good for me. I think these aren't going anywhere, but I think this may be the size I will start with first anyway. I'll put it that way. Like, I think when I grab one, it'll probably be this dude. Now this guy is made different. Are the other ones made that way? Dude, do I have a knockoff? Are River Seas knocking off the knockoffs? No, this one's made that. No, that's a knockoff, dude. The knockoff is like that. Did River Seas change the way they make their Whopper Ploppers? Because I'll be honest, all the OG Whopper Ploppers I have, you guys see that? That's a straight, like, chop. It's chopped right, like, in two. See that? That's the OG one. This is an OG one from back in the day. Now, these are several years old. Maybe they've changed at some point, but I just got this one from Tackle Warehouse. See that? The big monster one. See that? The OG one. So, all those are like that. The only ones that aren't, because I know for a fact that big fat one I got from AliExpress, it's this color. It's like the one I'm getting ready to show you on this one. But you see that, how that goes up and inside there? Like, it's different, right? So then this is the Rogers house brand, which is a knockoff Rogers Bass Pro. I don't think Bass Pro has one exactly like this. They got like a double front and back. But anyway, maybe the 110s are made like this. If you look at this dude, see how he's got that cut in there? Now maybe that's a new design, or maybe it's in the 110 that it's less likely to get grass. Because I've always thought that was kind of funky. The Choppo is the same way. It doesn't take much. One little blade of something gets in there and it's like, don't, it just will kill the action. It's not a huge deal. So I'm curious now as if, I mean, it says right on it, river to sea. I don't know if any of you guys have these like older 110s, the newest 110s, because I think they added, I want to say I'm looking at this other one down here. It's made like this too. I think the 75, the 60, and the 110 were added to the lineup. I think they started out with the big one, or maybe they started out with the 130 and the 90 and then the big one real quick, or those three, and then they've added these others. Maybe when they added them, they changed a little bit different in the mold. But anyway, back to what I was talking about as far as size-wise. I think for me that this may be that size that'll get that big fish just pretty much as this will, but then also the littler ones, and be a little easier on those dinks, not quite as big of a gaff of a hook that's sticking them. I definitely think if you guys are wanting to, catch the biggest fish on the lightest gear possible, that 110 can be thrown on a lot smaller gear. Not a ton smaller, but smaller gear just due to the hook's overall size and all that. So, but, could haul in a big fish. So anyway, I got that one. And just because it looked so, let's call it cute, I got this dude. I was like, I'll just get it, right? Charles has a 90 already. I've got that 70. I've been called it 70 in a couple videos, that what they call the 75. It's a fat one. Can I say that? Can I call a bait fat, or is that wrong? This is a little fat dude. This is a short, fat midget dude. It's a little bait. It's not a midget. Anyway, that little dude just looks cool. So they just put chartreuse tail, right? He's so small. It's kind of what I talked about. When you get bigger, sometimes more subtle. Once you get little, a lot of times that little, just a bright color actually helps. So that little dude kind of has that same indented deal. So it's basically almost like a cone going up into there is the way that maybe it's the newer style ones. Same color, that perch color. So definitely, I can throw that on probably almost all my regular stuff. Definitely the hooks are small enough, like a BFS type deal. So the tetton, the feeling, all that kind of stuff, be awesome little topwater bait. Now, before I go anywhere, hold the phone. Let me come right back with my, what I think I called these micro Whopper Ploppers, didn't I? Let me get them. So I want to say, before I even realized that they made that little bitty dude, which those are $10. They are cheaper than all the other ones from the true Choppo or Whopper Ploppers. But before any of those really popped up onto the scene, or I paid attention to them anyway, I was basically getting these, and these are like, what are these, $3.50 or so? So you can get a few, almost the price of these three is equal to this one. But you do have a different, it's going to be a little different. Just profile, size, hook sizes are roughly the same. So if you guys are getting these from AliExpress and you're just like, oh, I want to get an OG Whopper Plopper, but I want BFS, that little 60 is perfect. So definitely, I think they have something similar to this on AliExpress, but it's got like a double little prop, and I'm sure it'll catch fish too. These have the little holes in them. And I'm curious, I don't know if anybody's ever tried with their Whopper Plopper to drill a hole. Does it help leave a bubble trail or anything? If you guys, I don't know. I know, like, stock, just boom. You pull a Whopper Plopper out of the package, throw it, it's going to catch fish. This perch color seems to be the best for this season anyway. But this color today was game on. I didn't even throw a perch color because I left that dude at home and I didn't have these yet. So this color is not far from perch color. I've almost ordered a couple different River Sea baits in that perch color. Like they've got a rattle trap and a couple other, the Biggie, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I might not. Haven't decided yet. All right, let's finish this unboxing. This is a 58-minute video. I haven't even got to the baits that I'm probably the most excited about. I don't know if I've ever seen these in person, but if you guys, if you haven't heard the story, I don't feel bad about doing it. I don't know if you guys have ever done this, and I know Jay and some of you guys come in, which is true. Me and Matt's done it before. We went by one day, and they're just, we're down at Lake Lafayette, and there's an old beat-up boat, and got a couple rods sticking up in the air, and there's one with the lizard with the chartreuse tail, and Matt's like, oh, they're fishing with the lizard. So he grabbed just gave him an idea. He's like, he grabbed a lizard out of the box, threw it, and guess what? Matt got on a lizard bite and was catching on lizard. So I basically went where they were working on the guy's trailer tire or the hub or something. So the boat was sitting there, and I just noticed there were baits like up on the deck. I'm like, oh, wonder what he's using. And I talked about it in the other video. He basically had some peanut butter and jelly, TRDs, a couple different smaller like finesse jigs, but he was on to that peanut butter and jelly kick kind of thing. So he had peanut butter and jelly jigs with just that more of the orange, and actually the Strike King is what I think they were. They had that just kind of orange and dark brown little small crawl trailers on a couple finesse jigs, a couple peanut butter and jelly TRDs, but then he had the which at the time I didn't know what it was, Lunker Hunt Fetch swim bait on a underspin rigged up. I'm like, oh, that looks cool. And I just, I probably shouldn't have, but I just reached in, grabbed it, and looked at it, and felt the plastic. I'm like, oh, those things are pretty good. I don't think I've ever seen one of these in person. So me, I started looking on Tackle Warehouse, best place to go. Just started looking up different picks, and so I found out what it was, and it's the Lunker Hunt Fetch. So I just ordered this color because I just like that color. I honestly could probably add a little color to it if I wanted to, but then I just got this color to try. So I bought just 2 packs, and these are not super cheap. In all honesty, the Mega Bass swim bait, you can get, I think it's 5 of these. If you guys notice the color, whatever color, what do they call this one? They call this Tennessee Shad. I think they call this IU or something. Same color, same exact color, guys. Like it's the same color, but this color sucked today. But these little dudes just spoke to me, but because of how, I don't know, the action, just filling them, which these are pretty good too, but these are like 5, no wait, 4. I want to say you get 4 of these, is it, for like $10, and you get 3 of these for $7.99. So you do the math, actually, these are cheaper. The Mega Bass Spark Shad are a little cheaper than these guys. But it's like which ones get hit, get bit, and everything like that. So these have salt in them too. Like if you guys see that. These, if something grabs onto that, they should hold on a little longer. Got salt. Already lost one of these baits. I rigged up 2, and I lost an eye on one. So these are that same kind of thing. If you really want those eyes to stay on, you need to pop them right off out of the bat and super glue them on. They're just kind of stuck on there. So yeah. Let's just open a pack and take a look and see how flexible they are. So these are considered, I want to say they look longer than they are. I think they're only considered, 4, look at that right there. Fetch, 4.5 inches, ½ ounce in Tennessee Shad color. But if you guys have noticed, when I was holding it up against that one, now they come in their own little, which is cool, a little blistery packy thing, like a double up deal. So you can keep them like this, store that wherever. You could actually cut that down to make it smaller, which I probably do. And the way they stack together, they don't take up a lot of space. So I'm hoping I really like these. So very soft, almost feel very, they feel very close. You'd almost swear like in the density and how they're made. And I don't think these have salt in them. These do. But I don't know who does the measuring. Like they call that one 4.5 and that one 5, but you're lucky if there's like a tail, like the length, however thick that tail is. So like you basically have the same shape. And if you go by the 5.75 in these, like wouldn't call that almost an inch longer, maybe a ½ an inch longer. So, but the overall looks and the makeup of the water, like, the presence they have, this 5-inch, this 4.5, and this 5.75 are pretty much like right there. They're going to have almost the same presence. A 5-inch one is going to be, I think, smaller and less presence, and that's the only size I think they make these in. This you can get in a 4, I want to say a 3, a 4, and a 5. So a lot of guys, the 3 is a very little finessey one, like to rig up on stuff. So out of these, this one's got a pretty good cutout. This one's got a crazy cutout here, and then a little bit one on the Spark Shad. So definitely no kick quite like that one probably, but these don't look it's the action of these over like how realistic they look. There's a big bulk of a presence there, but that does not look like a true fish. These kind of have, You know, if something's a little hesitant, I guess, I would think that one of these would be more enticing over even this dude. But them tails do need to kick, and I'll be anxious to see just how well one does over the other. But I would think that if a guy really wanted to, he could modify that tail just a hair to give it, if you felt like you needed a little more kick. But it's pretty, I don't know if you guys can make that out. It's a pretty, like, look at that body. The bodies are almost identical. The Spark Shad has a little longer extension onto that paddle, is to where its length is, but they're almost virtually identical. I don't know who made which one first, but I could almost say not a knockoff, but somebody was like, hey, that's a good idea. Right? I don't know who made these first flat. Probably somebody in his garage also started this, and then some other guys kind of started on this. So you have more fin, you have a more, you know, realistic, in my opinion, on a fish. Say if he's zoomed in and he's like eyeballing, especially if he's eyeballing a little bit from underneath, like you just got more fins and stuff going on, a scale pattern to just kind of be seen, to where this, well, it's missing an eye, but so I'm anxious to get these out. It's actually a little bit overall thinner, because this is I believe that's a 6/0, and it's almost, I think it'll work, but so yeah, anxious to get these out and try them. They definitely will store easier, take up less space. But we're going to see just how much. These both got hit, like stuff pecking at the tails, and the tails are still there, so that is a good sign. Some of these littler ones, once you get real thin, that one fish and the tail's gone and your bait's gone. But so far, the bigger ones are holding up a little bit better, even though they're getting hit in Dinksville. So yeah, I'm going to get, just like I got a couple of those rigged up, I'm going to rig up probably one of these in each color, and try them tomorrow. Where we're going to be is clear enough water, like there should be. Now, we're going where there's notoriously small fish. Let's get one of these out just to look at it. So this is not a true, like an albino bone color. There's some, if you guys can make out the fleck in there. But yeah, awesome bait. I don't know about the eyes, how long they'll last. Hopefully they last. They get hit. I find a, you know, whether it be on the underspin or whatever that I like them on. Who knows? Maybe it'll be on one of those like I talked about. Basically a bigger version of a chatterbait or something. I'll find a purpose, that something that where they get hit. But anyway, we got them to try out, and I also picked up the Spark Shad, and then just a kind of a almost 6-inch Keytech style on any of them. You can get the Keytech, the Strike King, and you guys comment. I don't know which ones last better. I know the Keytech's plastics do not last longer than anything, but the Strike Kings, if you guys know that the Googans last better than a Strike King, or Strike King lasts better than others, or any of these style baits. I know Big A makes these, but I don't think he makes anything that big. I don't know, but I'm waiting on. He's got some other baits he's in the process of working on for us. So they do have 3 to 5 other colors in these, but these are the 2 colors. They do make like a very light gray and white. I'll probably get, and then a black and white, basically like a different shad and a gizzard shad, like a couple different kind of realistic colors I'll probably get. They make a couple crazy colors that I don't think look realistic to me, but who knows? If I know I'm going to muddy water, it's something I could possibly think about getting. I don't know. You guys comment if you've tried these before, ever. They've been out for like 6-7 years. I don't know that I've ever actually seen them in person until I spotted that one on the guy's boat, and I'm like, they just look cool enough that I need to try them. And I'd always been kind of debating on trying this again in a color I like. I like that color. I had like a just solid green one that I tried. I threw here and there, and it just never really, it never inspired me to go buy more. But I figured with the color I like, and then the Spark Shads, I don't even know how many colors they make. Out of the colors they had up at Rogers Sporting Goods, that color was a color that I thought I liked, just like this one. So I think once we hit that clearer water tomorrow, honestly think that dude, this dude, and that bigger one are going to catch us some fish. I'm hoping enough dinks hit. I check durability also. You know, whether I catch the dinks or not, and I check the hook size. I may need to go up a size on all these guys on because I went to that a 6/0, not a 6 super line. That those ones from Rogers that don't have the underspins are, which is this one, and I didn't even throw this guy yesterday. Now this is a little bit deeper hook, so this may be one I want to rig up without an underspin. I'll probably rig this dude up just with one like this and just fishing around slow by himself, right? And then rig up one of these with the probably that maybe I don't know with one of them, maybe the Rogers or the actual owner one. Try them different ways. So yeah, hopefully that was a lot of stuff in that video, right? We had a lot of baits. We already had new one. I'm anxious for this dude just to see. So when we start out tomorrow morning, I may try not really put together a Whopper Plopper video, but I may give this dude, and this dude just to get him out there because this is a 130, this is a 120, and this is a 110. So they're actually size-wise, the Choppo is in between these two if you go by the sizes they say they are. So you see that the Choppo, you know, its presence in the water isn't very much over this guy to where the bigger one is, it's not really that much either. Like these all have that same kind of, just like I talked about in the swim baits, these all kind of have that same presence. Now, when it jumps to this dude, like, oh, game over. He's going to have a bigger presence than any of those others. So, like I feel this guy, the biggest fish, you got this around the biggest fish in the lake, but you got to get to him first. You might, you know, that would probably entice him even more. But I'm not saying that he wouldn't jump out and hit that dude over any of these other 130, 120s or whatever. That 110 is a pretty good chunk. But I've caught 5-pounders on little dudes like this. Not necessarily that dude, but little bitty poppers that are that small or even a little smaller in profile. Who wants to see this challenge? To the extreme. Whopper Plopper 60 versus Whopper Plopper 190. Dude, my head is bigger than your entire body. Yeah. I'm almost positive this one's going to catch more fish. This one may catch the biggest fish for that day. Now, I've caught a couple, nothing I've caught 2 or 3 on this, all very little, not a lot bigger than it. I'm not saying you get around water where there's a big fish, but for me, my waters, I think that would be my funnest fishing one. Even over this little dude. I think if I go to smaller, littler, you know, like the little, very little ponds, creeks and streams, stuff like that, it'd definitely be worth having that in your BFS stuff. Or those other ones I just showed you from AliExpress. You know, just get on that little Whopper Plopper-y type little bite. But for out fishing, strip pits, ponds, small lakes, unless I was going to big waters like down in Texas or something, like that 110 size is probably right there in that sweet spot in Honey Hole. But I think you can go on AliExpress. And I want to say this is the size you'll get. You can get like a 5-pack, different colors for 10 or 11 bucks. And then the other 5 colors for another 10. So you could basically spend $22 and have 10 Whopper Plopper type baits just to try, you know, almost all the different colors options they have. Then they're definitely a cheaper paint. You can tell it's not quite like this, but it would give you an idea if you like. I don't have any idea what color Whopper Plopper they'll hit my waters. You could buy that, or you could just take my word for it that color or a white belly will probably get hit. But if you go bigger, in my opinion, if you go with the 130s, like that Tackle Warehouse bluegill, or even their OG bluegill, would that almost like a transparent type belly with a touch of white on it, clear water, but just overall, but that color right there, clear water, dirty water, whatever water, unless you're in muddy, you know, chocolate milk type stuff, I think that color is a very hard to beat color. That's why I have 3 of them in that color right at the moment. And this was this was on sale. They're originally like $20. I got like $17.99, $16.99, and 10 or $9.99. So I could have went the route, and I still may just buy them just to have them just for myself, just like I'm telling you, because I don't know. There's a lot of these I've never even thrown the colors because I just like I don't want to spend that much money and have every Whopper Plopper in the arsenal. But who's to say I may not do that and just go out, maybe not this season, maybe next season, and when I feel I'm on a bite like I was this morning, just go through, start throwing the colors, and if one just fires up, gives you the confidence and it's catching them, maybe I'll buy a full, regular Whopper Plopper of that color at some point, that kind of deal. So is there a plus and a negative to knockoff stuff? No, in all honesty, it's like there's going to be guys making and companies making cheap baits for the fishermen that can't afford the expensive baits, but there's always going to be that person or place or thing that if you have a very expensive, hard to get, some of that stuff is either out of production or very, rarely comes into production. That there's, companies are taking advantage of that, whether they're in China or wherever, and they're making knockoff versions of it. So I'm not getting into that battle. Here at Bass and Bonsai, we're not lawyers. We're not taking anybody to court. We don't make anything except for the single lifestyle handle. If somebody pops up on a page saying that they invented that, you guys look them right in the eye and you tell them, Bass and Bonsai invented that. And I didn't invent, I just was the first one, I don't care what anybody says, that took the idea of that single handle and stuck it on a small BFS or BFS style, finesse style reel. I did it with the alphas with intent to get it to weigh closer to what the Aldebarans were weighing. That was a whole first start of that. And then I spent years just fishing with those because I liked it better. I've since now, this year I went back and I think I'm just going to stay. Couple reasons. It doesn't really, now I'm so used to it, I can grab either or and it doesn't bother me. But it's actually cooler when I'm out there and I'm recording in first person. If I've got a cool handle assembly and knobs, you can see what I'm using. The single lifestyle, all it is, you look like I'm out there and you can't even tell what I'm holding on to a lot of the time. So it's a couple reasons. I'm just going to stick with what everybody else is using kind of deal. I still have one or two. Olivia said the other day, she goes, I'm a single lifestyle gal. Because she likes the Joker. She likes those, like that. When I hand her the regular one, she's like, what's this? Because it's just what she's been used to. I think I've always handed her the BFS stuff because that is one girl. I do not think I taught her how to use a bait caster. I think I just handed her one of these BFS ones and said, here. And it was set. And I was like, just cast it out. She had been casting, the Zebco 33s is when we first started fishing. I don't know what she'd used in the past, 33s, spinning reels, whatever. She fished with her grandma for a while when she was a kid. She took to a bait caster, no problem. So every once in a while she'll backlash. I'm like, you don't backlash, because she don't backlash. But she's only ever really used my BFS, a good BFS reel. And it's set not for true distance, but for true fishing pleasure out on the water. There's a difference in how you set up a bait caster. You can set it a couple different ways. And some of the AliExpress reels and Daiwas are kind of the best at it. Now the Aldebaran BFS, those, or any of your BFS reels. But I think, in my opinion, a person starting out, if you're not going to start them out with the BFS, you'd be better off to start them out with something with the SV system through Daiwa, because it's just a more forgiving system. It may not be the ultimate, get the extra 10 foot over the Infinity different whatever from Shimano, but it'll get right there within a couple foot of it, and it's just a more forgiving system. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Long video. Stay tuned for that full day of Pogue on Father's Day, because it was Father's Day and we showed those largemouth bass who their daddy really was. Caught some fish, and hopefully tomorrow, today I showed Olivia who her daddy was. Right, Olivia? I don't know if she'll come in or not, but no, I caught 2 giant bass, almost 5 and almost 7. Awesome day on the water. Caught some other decent ones on the TopWater stuff and a couple regular ones, but overall, like number wise, it wasn't like the greatest numbers day, but it was an awesome day on the water. Tomorrow, hopefully with Charles, when I get this stuff re-rigged and back situated, we got several things to try out, and yeah. Glad thing I purged all that stuff out of my tackle box. I'm filling it right back up right now. I haven't even sold any of that stuff yet. Whew. All right. Get out, go bass and bonsai. Whatever you do, have fun doing it. I'm gone.